Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's Rick say hope. Ooh, excuse me. And I got another video for y'all. In this video, I am going to be talking about the media and propaganda. It's a lot of stuff that has been going on in the last few weeks. And I think some feathers have been ruffled up, right? And I think people are starting to see like what's going on. Even though Malcolm X told us these things like 50 years ago, he told us about the media, right? And to be wary of the dangers of being brainwashed and being deceived by the propaganda that we hear from the media, right? I want to talk about this book briefly, Propaganda. I think you should go out there and get it. It's from Edward Bernays. I think he is the nephew of Sigmund Freud. Freud, he's considered the father of psychology, right? But let me just read the little piece in the back, and then I'm gonna get into like my whole media video, right? It says, a fascinating and controversial look at how government and corporations control how we think and act. Propaganda outlines Edward Bernays' eerily prescient vision for regimenting the collective mind. Originally published in 1928, this manual of mass manipulation provides a detailed examination of how public discourse and opinion are shaped and controlled in politics, business, art, education, and science. In a world dominated by political spin and media manipulation, propaganda is an essential read for all who wish to understand how power is used by the ruling elite in our society. I want y'all to take heed to what I just said. How we are controlled by the ruling elite in our society. Which brings me back to the point that I'm about to get into right now. Did you know that 90% or more of all U.S. media is controlled by 6 big companies, corporations, whatever you want to call them? You know, 90% or more of all U.S. media is controlled by 6 big companies. Now, those companies are Walt Disney, Viacom, Comcast, News Corp, Sony. In some cases, you might see Time Warner. In other cases, you might see AT&T. So sometimes the names might vary. But the point is, and a lot of these companies, they be changing names and they be doing a lot of weird stuff to kind of like hide in plain sight or become invisible, right? But regardless of what, it's still the big 6. You could look this up yourself. You could Google it. You can do your own extensive research. And the point I was trying to make by that is, in 1983, most of U.S. media was owned by 50 companies. As of 2012, it's only 6. Now, what does this mean, though? This means that it's easier to be in accordance. It's easier to kind of like be on the same type of programming. It's easier to deceive you, to brainwash you, to control you, to do all the things, to carry out all the things that they want to carry out, right? And because this is again, propaganda, a tool of mass manipulation, which means 6 companies are in charge of controlling what you see, what you hear, what you read. Get what I'm saying? Like, this, I don't really think y'all really know how big this is. They control most of the stuff. This is why you can't be surprised when they depict black people in a certain light. You can't be surprised when we are constantly being bombarded with certain commercials. Y'all probably should look up MK Ultra too. Y'all should look up hypnosis. All of those things. I know some of y'all don't believe in that type of stuff. But I'm telling you, the Germans were working on this tool to kind of like brainwash people through the television, right? Like this hypnosis thing they was working on. They got a movie that talks about it somewhat. It's called MK Ultra. You should probably look into it. So it's a lot of things that goes on behind the scenes that we don't even really know what's going on. We just starting to scratch the surface, right? Why you think every once in a while they make black men wear dresses? They make some of the most masculine men do weird shit in Hollywood or do weird shit in these TV shows. You know, they control the athletes. Why you think there's no such thing as freedom of speech for none of these athletes? Why do you think that? And we are seeing it, and we are seeing how the media, and let's talk about Kyrie Irving real quick. Notice how when that situation happened with him, notice how all the sport analysts were coming at him. All these black men coming at him. Charles Barkley, Shaq, they talking about he should get suspended. They calling him an idiot. They just going crazy. All the sport analysts coming for him. Come on, man. Them dudes is following a script. They really sellouts. They following a script. That's why they do a lot of weird shit. That's why most of the prominent men in television, they done some weird shit for television. They're being controlled. You think somebody gonna come out and defend Kyrie Irving that has some type of status? And then they made sure they made LeBron talk about him. LeBron's statement came after like a few days after the whole situation. And they made sure like, yeah, LeBron, you're going to talk about this. I know y'all probably don't want to believe that because y'all think LeBron says whatever he wants. They just showed the world, right? Like, yo, we would embarrass you. We would take everything from you. A lot of people ain't trying to lose what they got. They ain't trying to, man, they trying to save face, man. They trying to save face. But what I wanted to say is like the man sat up there so many times and said, I'm not anti-Semitic. My apologies for anybody that might have been hurt. And it's like that wasn't enough. They want a public humiliation. They want a public lynching. They want to teach this Negro. They're like, nah, we don't think he got the picture yet. He ain't get the picture yet. So it's almost like they rubbing it in, right? But this ain't nothing new. Outspoken black men in the media and in sports and in all of these things, right? They have that are outspoken. They always have trouble. Muhammad Ali had problems, right? This ain't the beginning of this with Kyrie Irving. It's been a whole bunch of other athletes, Kaepernick, right? We could name a whole bunch of other players that just, when you're vocal, when you're outspoken, when you're that tough nigga, you know what I'm saying? They don't like that. Y'all know that? They don't like that. So they make examples. They go out their way to make examples because they don't want people doing that. So they sell propaganda. That's why I don't watch television. I really don't. Because they telling lies to your vision. They're brainwashing you. The music that we listen to. I need to stop listening to music too. I don't listen to music like that as much. You know, I might, when I work out. No excuses. I shouldn't be listening to that stuff too. Your brain is like your stomach. A lot of times they call your brain your second stomach. What you put into your brain, it does something to you. Even if a lot of times it stays in our subconscious mind. Those images we see. Those things that we hear in the music. The way we are depicted. The way that they use these images for us to see life. And then they mention education. They mention art. We go to their schools. Malcolm X said, only a fool will let his enemy educate his children. So we brainwash all around the board. It's not just what we see and what we hear, and it's also what we reading in those textbooks in school. A lot of people that go to college are lost. They bragging about some education. Completing a degree does not make you smart. A lot of people fail to realize that. You can't tell them that though. They think that completing a degree makes you smart. It doesn't make you smart. My professor told me this a long time ago. He said it don't take smarts to get straight A's or to graduate. He said all it takes is discipline. That's all. You just gotta be disciplined and you gotta be about your business. It don't mean you smart. A lot of times the smart people is not even the people that went to college. Malcolm X didn't go to college. This is why I believe he was so smart. He wasn't brainwashed. He didn't read those books that you read. He didn't get into the things that you got into. He wasn't force-fed this information. And look how articulate he was. He was so articulate and so smart. He received an honorary PhD. Look that up. Look what that is. An honorary PhD from Harvard. That's how smart he was. So they getting us, man. Propaganda from all angles. That's why we got so much division in our communities. Our sisters go to college. They feed them anti-patriarchal stuff. They feed them feminist stuff. They feed them these toxic masculine points. Which all of that shit is just really misandry that they're feeding them, right? And add that to their pain, their trauma, and their hurt, and they mix that up in a pot, and woo, they out here talking crazy to their men. All of this is a byproduct of propaganda. Again, from the masses, right? It says, and this manual of mass manipulation provides a detailed examination of how public discourse and opinions are shaped and controlled in politics, business, art, education, and science. In a world dominated by political spin and media manipulation, propaganda is an essential read for all who wish to understand how power is used by the ruling elite in our society. This is one of their main tools, which is why these companies wanted to make sure they consolidated and make sure that they own most of the media. It's all part of the plan, man. But look, I ain't gonna talk too long. I'm just here to tell y'all that this is some of the things that are going on. 6 big companies own 90% or more of the U.S. media. 6. Right? We don't own shit, man. They own our music. They own our networks, our so-called, well, we have BET. I don't know if we have other networks. They own most of that shit. They own all of that shit. They own the banks, the media, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's the record labels, like they own all that shit. So which means they control what you put out. They control what we see. Now at this point, I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself, but I just want y'all to be mindful of that. When you watch these movies, they controlling that. When you watch these TV shows, they controlling that. And they know what you like too. See, they have this way in social media, right? They have this way where they have this documentary called The Social Dilemma on Netflix. You probably should watch it. So they have this thing where they're talking about how artificial intelligence predicts how your mood is. And that's how they predict what ads to show you. They predict what reels to based on what you like and what you're watching on social media. It predicts your behavior and how your mood might be at the moment. This shit is crazy, man. Y'all better pay attention. That's why I don't watch none of that shit. I don't watch the news. I try to stay away from all of that. And I try to keep a clear mind. Because I already know what they're doing. They're brainwashing us. They're controlling us through their propaganda and their media. And like Malcolm X said, man, this media is so dangerous, man. It will have you hating the victims, right? And thinking that the oppressors are the good people. So I just want y'all to be mindful about the media. Be very mindful about their tactics. And, try not to consume so much of it. Because I'm telling you, Even though you think you're strong, you think you're this, you think you're that, a lot of that shit is being stored in your subconscious mind. And whatever you feed your brain, it's gonna regurgitate it. It's the same way like your stomach. Whatever you put in your stomach, if you put bad things in your stomach, it's gonna be bad for your body. If you put bad things in your mind, it's gonna be bad for the body and your brain. So y'all just take heed, man. Y'all be mindful out there when y'all consuming this media. And be mindful of who's in control of it and who's behind the scenes with the puppets. Peace.